Right, Rich.
Yes.
Thought you was gonna repeat yes, Rich, like the monster from Midnight. So you're sort of forcing me to do this one.
Yeah, I'm the agent.
I'm dragging my heels. You want to make a sequel to the Doctor Who episode Midnight, possibly the greatest episode of Doctor Who.
That is only made perfect by the fact that it hasn't got a sequel.
And it doesn't elaborate on the entity, the monster.
Exactly.
That's what you've got to do in the sequel. You've got to elaborate and expand upon. So how are we going to do a sequel to Midnight?
So my first idea was on a salmon planet. It's a courier carrying across a desert massive box. On the cargo manifest that says something like hermetically sealed extonic chamber.
Describe his transport for me so I can picture it. What is it?
It's the equivalent of the Midnight truck, but instead of us being trapped inside the box and not knowing what's outside, we're trapped outside of the box and we don't know what's inside. So it's an inversion.
Oh, okay.
So the last time we saw the Midnight entity, it would have ate up Sky Silvestri and it also ate up a bit of the Doctor. So basically their voices are still there.
Okay.
So what's happening is he's hearing the Doctor's voice, specifically Tennant's voice, and Sky's from inside the box, and it's constantly saying that it's trapped or something. Maybe there's some sort of enichta happens, some sort of crash happens with the big box.
I think it should be sealed, and it'd be like, you know when people are transporting organs, they're not allowed to break the seal?
Yeah, that's it.
It'd be like that temptation. He knows he can't open this book, but he's hearing voices inside, he's got to. The entire episode is him battling this need.
And I think, do you reckon we don't actually have the Doctor there, but we have the Doctor's voice trapped in there? So a big thing we noted was the Midnight entity doesn't actually seem evil. When you first meet it, it kills the driver, but it doesn't know what killing is, doesn't know what anything is.
Yeah.
Imagine being lonely for all of eternity and then all of a sudden...
well, I don't need to imagine, man.
I think the Midnight entity wasn't evil, it wasn't anything. It was what we put into it.
Yeah, it learned to be evil because they were all turning on each other and being hysterical. I really like that reading. I really like that.
Yeah.
Is it speaking with David Tennant's voice?
Yeah, Tennant and Sky Silvestri's.
Okay.
Interchangeably.
How do we market this? Because I could see the BBC releasing trailers of this courier stopping his machine, putting his ear to the box and hearing Tennant's voice.
Yeah. If he goes closer to it and then he hears Monte Bene, that would work, I think. That would work.
This courier is going across the desert and he keeps trying to shake off this need to open the seal.
And meanwhile, like, there's other stuff that he's, like, trying to learn and figure out. He's like, what is this? Usually he doesn't question, but...
Oh, so he's reading, like, all the transport notes and stuff, like, going through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, and he's learning about the planet Midnight and stuff like that. He's like, okay, what is it? My big plot hook is that it's basically a military contract. So I reckon humans are humans, man. They're gonna go find her, because that would be a perfect agent. A creature that can, like, eat minds and hop minds. That's perfect.
So the humans have captured the Midnight entity and that's what's inside the book.
Yeah.
Since he's alone on this planet, could he call home and maybe have a conversation with a girlfriend or his fiancée?
Yeah.
Because that could be our dialogue in the episode.
What if, man, you have to hire a deaf courier? You need someone who's deaf. Oh, wait, so he gets told by the workplace that he has to wear a specific new PPE, which is like an extonic helmet, but he's on a desert planet and he's like, I'm not fucking doing that. It's too hot.
Oh, okay, so he breaks the rules and that's what allows him to hit. Yeah, I like it.
So I think that would happen in the first 10 minutes, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He's like going across and he gets frustrated. He's like, no, fuck this, not happening. And he takes it off. And then that's when he starts hearing the voices. Yeah, and then does he ring his girlfriend not long after that?
Yeah, so he calls her and he's like, have you ever heard of the planet Midnight? And maybe she knows it as like a holiday resort.
Ooh, do we give ourselves like 1,000 years of history to play with? She's like, I heard the name, but it's like a pleasure resort that shut down like 1,000 years ago. And then they pull up the files and stuff like that. I reckon that's the last 20 minutes that she finds the files.
She could say, I could search for it. I could look her up in the database. Reckon he says, nah, don't worry about it.
Ah, okay.
Plodders on. And then she ends up looking her up anyway. This way, the audience aren't sat around waiting for this information to come through.
Imagine if by the end, man, we actually do cut away from the planet and we tell it from her perspective now. And then the next next time he calls, it's the Midnight Entity's voice. So there's a point where we're still with him, maybe like 30 minutes, 40 minutes in, and she's trying to contact him, but maybe he's listening to the entity and the entity's using the doctor's voice, and it's like a back and forth conversation now. Like, he's starting to recognize, no, this is fucked, something's gone on here. Have they trapped two people?
Okay.
Maybe he's got like trauma that he accidentally got caught up in like some sort of alien trafficking thing. You don't know what you're delivering as a driver sometimes. It just gets loaded on there.
At some point, I reckon his curiosity wins over and he's like, I've got to see what's in this box. So he undoes the seal, but then closes it again. But opening that seal and just letting the tiny bit of air out just like opens the floodgates, and that's when the third act just starts to fall apart.
Do we cut away and we're from the girlfriend's POV?
She tries calling him one last time.
Yeah, because I could almost see a scene where she had up the archival footage and it's just Tennant's face or something like that. It says something to the effect of entity had increased exposure to man known as Doctor. And maybe like earlier on he says something like, the voice, it calls itself the Doctor.
Could he say like the voice kept saying something in French, Monte Bene, and she sees in the archives that the story of Midnight that would have been like reported in like police reports, it began with her repeating Monte Bene.
Yeah, because that was a big reveal, wasn't it? Like, shit, that's the creature. It's stolen his voice.
Yeah, so that changes the tone of the call, because now she's not just calling him casually to tell him about the planets. She's calling him because she thinks something's going on.
Yeah.
You know what, man?
Yeah.
I wasn't on board for that, but you won me over. It plays with the original story. It doesn't answer too many questions, and it does something new. Would this episode be set during David Tennant's run? Or is this...
That's a good point, man. Do we,
I say we just throw it out in, like, the new series. The BBC could market it as David Tennant returning to Doctor Who, but he's not playing the Doctor.
Yeah, he's playing the Midnight, he's playing the Doctor.
Yeah, he's just lending his voice. It's happened before that people have played prominent roles on Doctor Who, and then returned later on to play a different role. Barbara, who was the first Doctor's companion, she returned in, like, the 80s, but playing a different role. She wasn't playing Barbara.
Oh, that's mad.
So it's happened before, so David Tennant could easily do it. Yeah, I like that, man. We've got that.
Hey, let's go.